How's it going, everybody? This is the video y'all been waiting for. I know you have, because I've been waiting to share it with you. This is going to be the Pegasus team in action in raids difficulty 1.6. Before we get into it, I just want to hype you up a little bit. This is by far the best raid team we've ever had. It is the most fun raid team we've ever had. It is the most free-to-play friendly raid team we've ever had. And it is the prettiest raid team we've ever had. The animations, the explosions, everything is amazing. We can do this with the new characters at 3 yellow, 3 red stars, gear tier 15. It all comes down to Kestrel. Build Kestrel to the moon, okay? Great for Dark Dimension 6, great for Cosmic Crucible, great for War, and now amazing for raids, alright? Enjoy the video. Let me know if you got any questions in the comment section below. Let me know how hyped you are for this team after you see what they got going for them. And yeah, we'll see what they do for the reworks for this team. I haven't even looked at them yet. But unless they're unlocking Ironheart speed bar outside of raids, the team's a dud. It's too slow. It's not going to hold up regardless of stats, regardless of anything else. It won't hold up in raids. It won't hold up in Crucible. Too slow. They're not too slow in raids. Check this out. Let's jump right into it, but quickly, we're going to talk about the power and the recommended and everything you're going to need to do if you want to be super successful with this team. This is a 1.3 million power team. They do not need to be that big, all right? Everybody but Kestrel on this team is gear tier 17. They don't need to be. They can be gear tier 15. I'll talk about why they're gear tier 17 in a second, but first I want to focus on Kestrel. Kestrel is a must-do gear tier 18 now. Amazing in Cosmic Crucible, amazing in War, amazing in Dark Dimension, and she is single-handedly carrying this team. That is why this team is by far the most free-to-play friendly new raid team we've ever had, ever. Put red stars on her if you don't have her already maxed out. Bring her up to gear tier 18, obviously level 95, you're going to have to do that. And then put her at ISO 5 Raider, not Striker, okay? She needs to be a Raider for this. If you already have ISO 5 Striker, put her ISO 4 Raider. That'll do the trick. She's the focal point. She needs to be a Raider. We'll discuss why that is. The rest of the characters, they could be gear tier 15. They could be 3 yellow, 3 red stars. On the new characters, they need to be ISO 4. They should be these ISOs. We'll talk about why that is. But bring them up to level 95. I know you don't want to hear that, but here's the thing. This team was built for the next raid tier, not this raid tier. If you wait to bring them up to 95 until the next raid tier drops, there's no telling what that next team will be. It could be a new raid team. It could be a new arena team. It could be whatever your favorite team is canonically, all right? And then you're going to have to decide, do I double back to finish up my super necessary Pegasus raid team, or do I do the team that I want to? And that sucks. So I don't think anyone's like hyped to build new Avengers, though there's reasons to build new Avengers for sure. You should definitely build up your Pegasus 95. I guess we could talk about that trade-off real quick. New Avengers to unlock the next legendary character. It's 100% going to be Green Goblin for Crucible, right? Like this, it was supposed to be a raid team. They used the word explosive. Obviously, it's not going to be a tech raid team now. Green Goblin would... He's the only character for explosive that's like hotly wanted. So he's going to be a Cosmic Crucible team. If you don't like Cosmic Crucible, decision's easy. If you do like Cosmic Crucible, the benefits may not be that bad. Because there's a lot of people, irregardless of what Scopely's doing to make the new Avengers amazing everywhere, which is what they've already done, that are just saying, I don't care about new Avengers, I'm not going super hard on them. The downstream effect of that is going to be the leaderboards for the next legendary event are not going to be super contested. So you could go ahead and maybe still get a 5 or 6 or maybe even 7 yellow star just by bringing the new Avengers up to, like, I don't know, gear tier 15. Maybe that'd be enough. Maybe not even level 95. So in the landscape of what's most important to build, I do think Pegasus is going to be that for the majority of players. So as far as ISOs go, let me pause this. Ironheart, Striker, Rescue, Healer, Kestrel Raider is a must. Darkhawk, Raider, and then Iron Man Striker. These are all very important. We'll get into why. Yeah, let's just get the footage going. But yeah, 3 yellow, 3 red on the new characters is perfectly fine, which is why this team is the friendliest, best raid team we've ever had. Because as you see, they crush. Did I say why I brought them to Gear Tier 17 yet? Okay, so why I brought them to Gear Tier 17 is because there was a bug in the initial playtest that the playtesters found, and to the developers' credit, they immediately got it fixed. So what you see right now, let me pause this so that's done. You can see there are 3 characters stunned. There is Miss Marvel, Shang-Chi, and Captain America World War II. This would never happen on the playtest because Ironheart's passive was only giving the speed bar to her. So that 75% passive she's supposed to give to the entire Pegasus team was only going to her. The reason I'm explaining this in such detail is because there was a leak over the weekend that showed that happening, and I'm getting murmurs like this team's not going to work at low stars. The footage that the guy showed, they were all 7 yellow. That's not how the team works. So shout out to all the play testers that found that issue, and shout out to the developers that fixed it. This is now working as intended, and it's crazy. All right, so that's why Kestrel needs to be a raider. Her special turn 1 is going to hit up to 6 targets, puts vulnerable on all of them because she's so likely to crit. And then Ironheart comes in, and the reason we need those crits and we need Kestrel to go first, firstly, defense down makes debuffs more likely to land. Secondly, for every vulnerable on an enemy, Ironheart's ultimate gains an additional 50% focus. It's not multiplicative, so it's not like Gambit has 3 charges, he's going to give her 150% focus on her ultimate. No, just 50%. But still, on 6 enemies, 300% focus is really good. On 5, 250, still really good. On 3 of them, it'd be 150. That's still good enough to make her land at 3 yellow, 3 red, as we're about to see. So that's why I did bring them to Gear Tier 17, but Gear Tier 15 is 100% going to work. All right. Now we get into the fun talk. Okay, so Ironheart is a striker. The reason she's a striker is because even if you're hitting into a vulnerable target, her ISO attack just reapplies vulnerable. It's also going to extend all negative effects, including trauma, but not including ability block and stun. So if you see we have trauma out from her special that she's about to do, know that her base can extend it. So watch this Iron Fist. He now has 1 stack of trauma, or no, 2 stacks, and now he has 3. So that's how that interaction works. Love it. She's obviously a striker. Reapplying the vulnerable is huge. Then it's going to be Rescue's turn. Now Rescue, as you saw, I just did the special, but this is turn 2. You can use Rescue's ultimate turn 1 and give yourself offense up, but if you are just building Kestrel and the other characters around Kestrel, don't use the Rescue ultimate. Use the Rescue special, because Rescue special gives you deflex and death proofs. Those death proofs are the most important thing. The enemies in the current raid tier, the way they kill you is AoE. Like if Iron Fist was not blinded there, we would basically all be at 1 life. And the second one comes in, it would have taken off a death proof. So offense up is not needed to kill the enemies if Kestrel's doing all the damage, but death proof is needed to survive. So you definitely want to open up with that Rescue special. All right. Next, we want her as a healer. The reason we want her as a healer, it's not really going to affect her special, because that's going to 100% heal you no matter what. But in the event that an enemy does kill you, it's likely, as we just discussed, because they're all AoE attacks, it's likely that your entire team is not in great shape. So then if you have Rescue as a healer, that ultimate heals her more while it also revives somebody, and you're business as usual, and you're good to go. I would also suggest that if you do get in that situation where you need to revive somebody, on the next character's turn, if it's not a super controlling effect like Ironheart ultimate or Iron Man ultimate, use a basic attack. What that does is it gives Rescue an additional energy, and then she's able to revive right away. All right, so yeah, Rescue as a healer. Then we have Iron Man and Darkhawk. They have the same speed, so they can go one in front of the other. Let's talk about Darkhawk first. Darkhawk we want as a raider, because his ISO attack does not put out an additional vulnerable, and every one of his abilities is an AoE ability. I think his special and his basic are adjacent. His ultimate is everybody, and yeah, so he's putting out vulnerables. We want him as a raider. Then we have Iron Man. We want him as a striker, similar to Ironheart, but not as strong. He reapplies the vulnerable, and he gives himself speed up. So him as a striker makes sense. He also does insane damage. So that's why we want the ISOs. So they're not eating up the ISOs. But why don't we want the ISOs? We touched on this for Ironheart a little bit, but there's also Rescue. So every enemy that has vulnerable, on their turn, Rescue will pop off a heal. And then for Iron Man, every enemy with a vulnerable, when he does his ultimate, he will apply blind. That's why we never want to eat up vulnerables here. We should talk about this node for a second real quick. This node was the most in contention. This is the node I was most worried about too when I was playtesting it at first, because it would go Ironheart takes her turn, but because there's no defense down, there's no vulnerables, she completely whiffs her ultimate, and then Zemo was killing people. Now, with the entire team getting 75% speed bar, no enemy ever takes a turn. We didn't really talk about gameplay much because, honestly, in this current raid tier, there's not much to talk about. If you have a big Kestrel, you're going to win. The one thing I would warn against is with these Ghost Riders. So I kind of mentioned, like, everything when you die, it's normally because it's something like a Nemesis ultimate, a Peggy ultimate, maybe Zemo ultimate, Surfer ultimate on this node. Next node, it'd be like Deathlock, maybe Kestrel, stuff like that. The only real single target threat is on node 2, and it's those Ghost Riders. And I guess the Gambit node 1, but he's normally dead before anything with this team. If you're killing people that are not named Ghost Rider, and they're popping off like crazy, like say we did Kestrel Special, and we killed everybody but the Ghost Rider. That's 3 enemies dead, 2 Ghost Riders, 6 of his passives. They're not hitting into the defense up, they're not hitting the barrier. The deflex help us a little bit, the death proofs help us a little bit, but that could be a problem. So on this particular node, when you're in control, you're going to want to take out those Ghost Riders ASAP, as you saw I just did. Besides that, though, it's super, super convenient how this team is just amazing. So you need to get those death proofs from Rescue, and then you're perfectly safe. The concern, I suppose, would be getting your buffs stripped. No enemies do buff strips. So Kate does buff strips, but she's so slow in node 1, she's dead. The Emmas on node 1 do buff strips, but they do it on their second turn, and they don't even see their first turn, even with the new Pegasus members. On this node, Zemo does buff strips, and Surfer, they're dead before they get their turn because of that 75% turn bar, so we're not worried about that either. And on the last node, I guess it's, Kestrel Ultimate is the only thing? We're not worried about it at all. I guess Falcon using his special would be a crazy speed bar for the enemy team, but it never goes that far. This team just demolishes them. So get those rescue death proofs up, and then know that when your characters drop below 50% life, they're getting new death proofs. I don't even know whose passive it is. So I want to talk about the opening for this team because it's crazy, and it's so interesting how it works, and it gives us an insight to know what we should look into when they're trying to phase this team out. So 75% speed bar on spawn is the starter. After that, Kestrel puts out defense downs and vulnerables, so we're more likely to land our Ironheart abilities. So that's 3 stuns from Ironheart, as well as slows on the entire enemy team. Rescue puts up death proofs and deflex. Then let's say Darkhawk goes before Iron Man. Darkhawk is rewinding the enemy by an additional 25% and then giving you an additional 25% speed bar. He's also giving your entire team offense up. Then Iron Man goes. Iron Man Ultimate applies blind to everybody with a vulnerable, so that's why we want vulnerables everywhere, and also gives your entire team speed up. I like to play this game with my son sometimes. So what does that mean in total? In total, on the opening turn, we are getting 100% speed bar, speed up, offense up, death proof, and deflex. What is the enemy getting? The enemy's getting vulnerables everywhere, defense down, slow everywhere. It's so blind on everybody that has vulnerables. It's such a crazy opener that there's really only one thing that'll ever counter this team at this point, and that's anti-speed bar. So an anti-speed bar, not like Black Cat, not like Quicksilver, but anti-speed bar to you. So we'll know this team is at the end of its line when we get a Ronin-like kit, but not locked behind war, where the kit reads like no speed bar on spawn. That'll be when we know they're phasing Pegasus out, because the team is slow, and without that, as we saw in the playtest, they suck. So pretty excited about this team. This team is explosive. There's a lot more to talk about. Let me touch on some hybrids, because I was asked to test this team in a hybrid situation. Nothing really worked. I tried Kang, I tried Doom. The problem is you're losing a lot of that speed bar on spawn that Ironheart gives the second you sub people out. And then you're also losing the 2 energy Pegasus gets when the full team there. So Ironheart's passive also gives 2 energy on spawn if the full team is there. Without that, Ironheart cannot ult turn 1, so you're not getting those stuns. Rescue cannot ult turn 1, so you're not getting that offense up, though I don't think you care too much about that. And it quickly falls apart without that. Like we just talked about, the crazy opener. Speed up, slow, 100% speed bar, minus 25% speed bar to the enemy, defense down, blinds, stuns, everything is crazy. So this team really does want to stay together, but like I said, this is the most free-to-play, and honestly, the best raid team we've ever had. Kestrel, you want everywhere anyway. Build her to the moon. The other characters, bring them to gear tier 15. I'm going to let Nemesis take a turn here so you can see Rescue's healing, by the way. What else is there to talk about? Okay, Cosmic Crucible. This team will not beat Bifrost in Cosmic Crucible, and it wouldn't even matter. So this team probably isn't out by the time the Crucible season ends, and we're never going to get that raid room again. People hated that raid room. But even if it did, in like a fun, versus battle kind of theory crafting world, the Pegasus team, besides the Ironheart Ultimate, which I don't even know if it's unblockable. I'm not even going to check because it doesn't matter. only peels off 2 buffs. The Bifrost team spawns with immunity, defense up, deflex, regens, defense. Did I say defense up? They spawn with 6 buffs. And because everything the Pegasus team does is AoE, those retaliates from the Team Loki would demolish us. Oh, it doesn't matter. No, Kestra's a cosmic hero. Kestra would go and the entire Bifrost team would get Safeguard. So Ironheart would peel nothing off and you would simply die. You would just die. Alright, so don't worry about like, oh, Pegasus is going to ruin Cosmic Crucible. That's not going to be the case. It was never going to be the case. In fact, in a perfect world, even if Pegasus did beat Bifrost, what you would want to do is you'd want to put your Pegasus on defense, assuming that nothing else beats them, except Bifrost, and then you could use your Bifrost to beat enemy Pegasus, and it would be a nice exchange from there. But we don't live in that world. We still got to deal with the Bifrost RNG shenanigans. But who cares about Bifrost? We're having a happy video. This is an amazing, free-to-play friendly arena raid team. I'm excited for it. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this team in the comment sections below. And as always, stay happy, healthy, and have fun. I'll talk to you guys soon. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.